In this video, we are going to know about wetlands ecosystem. So wetland ecosystem is the third type of freshwater. We have discussed about remaining freshwater ecosystems. So first of all, let us know what are wetlands. So wetlands are the places. Actually, they are not completely aquatic ecosystems and they are not completely terrestrial ecosystems also. In between these two, aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems, these wetlands will fall. So actually, these are the land surfaces only, and these are saturated with water, and the water levels will be fluctuated. The water level will be fluctuating all along the all throughout the year. So a lot of variations will be there.
Income apply చేయడానికి
ఇంత శ్రీవాణి మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి అందరూ. So this water level fluctuates up and down. So here again print type mistake. Voice typing lo chala mistakes vastunayi. Sorry for that. So water level fluctuates up and down seasonally and annually. So seasonal variations will be there and annual variations. So 1 year in 1 year these fluctuations may not be the same as the next year. So annual and seasonal fluctuations can be seen in this water levels on these land surfaces. And in some areas, land surfaces, they develop pools of water after the rain fall. So after the rainfall also, in some places water stagnates, and this water stagnation may result in the development of a pond-like area or pool-like area. And these temporary water storages cannot be considered as wetlands. So to call it as a wetland, it should be filled with water throughout the year. The water level may change, water level may fluctuate, but it should be completely filled with water. So that is a must, that is the condition to call one land surface as a wetland ecosystem. And Wodum and Barrett, they are the two scientists, they have given a definition to the wetland ecosystem. According to them, a wetland is a pulse stabilizer fluctuating water level ecosystem. Wetland is a pulse stabilizer fluctuating water level ecosystem. So it is a terrestrial ecosystem only, but fluctuating water levels, they will be stabilized. That means the water levels will be there and they will be fluctuating. So this is the definition given by Wodum and Barrett. And vegetation and water table, these are the two important factors, two important things that differentiate wetlands from other ecosystems. So wetlands are not terrestrial ecosystems, wetlands are not completely aquatic ecosystems. So we can see the differences in vegetation and water table. So water table, first of all, let us the first factor, water table. So in water table, what happens? So in water table, the water table usually it will stand at or near the land surface. So in aquatic ecosystems, in aquatic water bodies, remaining water bodies, be it marine water ecosystem or be it lentic ecosystem or be it lotic ecosystem, in all these water ecosystems, water levels will be above the land surface. And in terrestrial ecosystems, water levels will be below the terrestrial surface. So water tables, bhugarbha jalalu antam kada, so water tables will be so much deep inside the land surface in terrestrial ecosystems. But here in wetlands, the water table will be near the land surface or at the land surface. So water table will be touching this land surface. In some cases, these water table, the water from the water table flows above this water, above this terrestrial or land surface. So that's why throughout the year, these wetlands will be having water levels. There may be some changes in the levels of water, but completely they will be having water levels. So this is one important difference. So wetlands will be having water tables at the land surface or near the land surface. And vegetation is also another important deciding factor. Vegetation is also another important deciding factor. These vegetations cannot be seen in remaining ecosystems. So the vegetation that's present in wetland ecosystems will not be seen in remaining aquatic ecosystems also. So they will be having a very specific peculiar vegetation or plant types will be there in these wetlands. And these wetlands, they are also described as ecotones. So ecotone is a junctional area where two different types of ecosystems meet with each other. So this is a marginal area, junctional area. As the wetlands, they have connection with terrestrial ecosystem, and they will be having connection with aquatic ecosystem also. So that's why they can be called as ecotones. And ecotones, usually they are rich in species diversity, as they are having a connection with both two different types of ecosystems, and intermediate conditions will be there in them. So that's why a lot of types of different species can be seen. So in terms of species diversity, ecotones are very rich. So wetlands are also very rich in terms of species diversity. And the important functions of wetlands as an ecosystem is that they purify the water. So a lot of water, usually in many areas where wetlands are located, the water in these wetlands, after staying some time in these wetlands, finally they will go and they will join the water ecosystems. It may be river, or it may be a pond, or it may be a ocean. So many of the wetlands, they will be in close vicinity of the oceans or rivers or big sized lakes. So the floodwaters, after flowing through these wetlands only, finally the floodwater reaches the seas, rivers and lakes. So while they are going through the wetlands, the water will be purified. All of the sediments, impurities, they will be filtered by the wetlands. Pure water will be sent into this water body. So purification of water is a very important function of the wetlands. And they also control the floods. They also very helpful in controlling the floods. And when these wetlands are present on the seashores, then they will be also controlling the effect of storms also. And in this way, they also stabilize the shoreline. So shorelines will not be affected by the storms, and they are not affected by the soil erosion also. So preventing the soil erosion, preventing the damage by the storms is also very important function of the wetlands. So in this way, wetlands have very important ecological functions to perform. And they cover just 7% of the earth surface. So on the earth, total 7% out of the total surface, 7% surface is only covered by wetlands, but they deliver 45% of world's natural productivity. So 45% of the natural productivity. So productivity comes from croplands also. So that croplands productivity is not natural productivity. Croplands productivity is man-made productivity. So we have to exclude that. Excluding that, if we consider 45% of the world's natural vegetation's productivity comes from wetlands only. So this is the importance of wetland ecosystem. And types of wetlands, so based on hydrology, so based on water connection, three types of wetlands are there. One is riverine wetlands, second one is lacustrine wetlands, third one is palustrine wetlands. Riverine wetlands, they are connected to rivers, they will be adjacent the rivers. And lacustrine wetlands, they are in the close vicinity of lakes and reservoirs. And palustrine wetlands are somewhat different. They are isolated. These palustrine wetlands, usually they will not be connected to either oceans, either rivers or lakes. So they usually are very isolated type of wetlands. This is about the classification based on hydrology. So another type of classification is also there. This classification is based on type of vegetations present in those wetlands and geological features. So based on the vegetation and geological features, 8 different types of wetlands are there. First one is marshes. So these marshes usually they will be having a peculiar special type of grass species. So grass species will be dominant vegetation in these marshes. No big sized plants will be there, no woody plants will be there. So non woody grasses plants will be there. So these are the dominant vegetation in marshes. So marshes means grass vegetation. So marshes will be having grass vegetation. And second type of wetland is swamp. Swamps will be having woody trees. So all these marshes and swamps, they will be having plants which are emergent. So these plants, either they are grasses or they are woody plants, they will emerge out of the water. So they will be big in size, but in marshes they are grasses, no woody stems will be there in these grass species. In swamps they will be having a woody trees, so big size tree like things will be there. So third one is bosque. These bosques are also called as riparian wetlands. Riparian wetlands. These riparian wetlands are also just like swamps, but they will be on the river side. So woody plants will be there in them. When these swamps are alongside the rivers, then they will be called as bosques or riparian wetland. Next, fourth type is mires. So these mires, they are special type of wetlands where peat will be accumulated in the substratum. Peat is nothing but when the plant's material die, so all those plant materials usually they will be decomposed. When they decompose, all the plant material, dead plants material will be broken down into smaller particles, into carbon, into organic materials and inorganic molecules. So all those will be mixed in the soil or substratum. But when these dead plant materials are not decomposed completely, they will become peat. So this peat only finally becomes into the coal. So coal, nela bogu, is nothing but another form of peat only. So when these dead plant materials, when they are not completely broken down, they will be converted into peat, and this peat will be accumulated in this substratum. In the soil layers, peat will be accumulated. So when the peat is accumulated in some type of wetlands, then they are called as mires. And fifth type is bogs. Bogs are also not one type of mires only. When the soil, when the water content in these wetlands is acidic, and when less nutrients are there in them, less nutrients, so such type of mires are called as bogs. So bogs are nothing but they are also mires. In them also peat will be accumulated in the substratum. So due to the action of different types of different types of decomposers, acid molecules, acid chemicals will be accumulated in them. So the chemical nature of these wetlands becomes acidic. So when the mire is acidic and only less amount of nutrients are there in the water and in the substratum, such type of mires are called as bogs. And sixth type is moors. These moors are also nothing but they are also one type of mires only. They will be called as raised bogs or blanket mires. So moors are also one type of mires only. So the difference is that in them the accumulated peat will form a blanket like layer under the substratum. So under the substratum, a blanket like peat layer will be there. So and usually these type of mires will be present on the highly elevated locations. So they will be present very high from the sea level. So very high areas from the sea level will be having this type of mires. So that's why they are also called as raised bogs, and blanket type of peat layers will be there under the substratum, so they are also called as blanket mires. And seventh type is fens. These fens are also one type of mires only. Peat accumulation will be there in them, and these fens usually they will have groundwater source. The remaining ones, mires, bogs, moors, these three will not be having groundwater source. In three of them, groundwater source will be obstructed by the accumulated peat layers. But fens, they will be receiving some groundwater also. So groundwater will enter into the land surface above the surface levels. So in mires, bogs, moors, groundwater cannot penetrate or cannot come outside, and so that mires, bogs, moors, they will be very poor in terms of nutrients, poor in terms of vegetation. But fens, they can receive water from groundwater also. So fens are somewhat better than these mires, bogs, and moors. And last one is flooded grasslands or savannas. So these flooded grasslands and savannas usually they can be seen near the equator areas. So near the equator areas, daily rainfall will be there. So and these type of grasslands can be seen in South Africa, African continent, and in South America continent also. This type of grasslands can be seen. So around this Amazon river, around this Nile river, so these areas, grasslands will be there, and due to the presence near this equator line, due to the daily rainfalls, these grasslands they are completely filled with water throughout the year. So they also will be converted into they are also converted into wetlands. So they will be called as flooded grasslands or savannas. So this is about types of wetlands. And coming to the abiotic factors, so abiotic factors like remaining water ecosystems, these also then they will be having a soil chemistry, oxygen, precipitation, temperature, turbidity, nutrients, all these things they also will play important role just like any other ecosystem. Water is very important one here. Why? Because the total soil chemistry is determining the water chemistry also. And hydrology or effect of floods also is very important feature. So usually the floodings they will decide what type of animals to live in that area, what type of vegetation has to live in that area. So due to the continuous presence of water, only those plants can survive that have the ability to withstand this continuous water stagnation. And oxygen availability is also very important factor. Unlike remaining freshwater ecosystems or marine ecosystems where deep layers of waters will be devoid of oxygen availability, but here the oxygen availability is not a problem. Why? Because the water level just within a few, not more than few meters below meters level will be there. So just above the surface level will be there. So availability oxygen is not a problem. But the plants they have to withstand, they have to adapt to the continuous water stagnation. And precipitation or rainfall, weather conditions, and if the wetland is near this seaside or oceans, then tide effects also will be there. So the tide effects, all these things also they will control these vegetation, and animals live in these wetlands. So these tides they will tides and storm effects also, and these river currents, the sea water currents, all these things they also control the biotic organisms. In sedimentation, so through this incoming flowing waters, sediments will come, and that those will bring in different types of chemicals. If these water flow coming from polluted areas, they bring pollutants. So that the sedimentation also, what type of sediments are coming into these wetlands, they will also decide these biotic factors. Erosion and turbidity, nutrients, alkalinity, temperature, all these things they will control the biotic factors. Bedrock also is very important. So the wetland where it is located, the land surface is called as bedrock. So these land surfaces, different areas of land surfaces will be having different types of inorganic components in them. So the bedrock also is a important abiotic factor. And human intrusion is also another important factor. Through human intrusion, lot of waste dumpage is being occurring, and pollution is being occurring, and destructing these wetlands and converting them into real estate ventures. All these things are also important abiotic factor. And coming to producers, in the biotic factors, first one is producers. So phytoplankton and periphyton are very important producers in them. So different types of unicellular phytoplankton will be there. Different types of algae and cyanobacteria are examples of this phytoplankton. And coming to periphyton, these periphyton are some type of masses. These periphyton plants, they will be attached to the stems or leaves of the plants, and other rocky surfaces or any other different types of surfaces if they are available. And apart from these things, specific species also will be there. So these specific grass species, or it may be grass species, or it may be different types of vegetation, woody plants also may be there. If it is farms, their grasses will not be there, woody plants will be there. So likewise, some specific are some plants are just confined to, limited to that wetland only. They are not usually seen in any other area. Such type of specific or confined peculiar grass species or woody species also will be there. They also make the producers, and actually these are the important producers, specific producers of that wetland ecosystem. Coming to consumers, so zooplankton is the primary consumer. So these zooplankton include different types of protozoans like foraminiferans, ciliates, heliozoans, and another minor phyla, rotiferans, and some micro crustaceans, small sized crustacean larvae, and crustacean adults also. Larvae of echinoderms and these things, they form the zooplankton. And nekton are the actively swimming animals. These nektons, examples for nekton are fish, amphibians, and large sized insects. Neuston, spell type mistake, neuston, neust, neuston. So neuston are the animals. Usually animals, neuston are the animals. They are just they lie above the water surface or under the water surface. They lie above the water surface or under the water surface. If they lie above the water surface, they are called as epineuston. If they lie under the water surface, then they will be called as uh, uh, endoneuston. So epineuston, endoneuston will be there. So these different types of insects will be there. They are called as neuston. So neuston type of insects also will be there in these wetlands. And another one is benthos. Benthos, usually they are present on the sediment, or they are present on the benthic region or a surface in the water level, under the water level. So clams and different types of clams and snails, they make the benthos. And final one is decomposers. So decomposers, different types of bacteria and fungal, some insect species, they form the decomposers. So this is about this wetland ecosystem. In next video, we will meet with another topic.